Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and you are watching SOS at a new time. I am hoping that you guys are okay with this time. I don't know. I'm getting mixed reviews. I may have to go back to the nighttime. You guys gonna have to let me know if this is working for you, right? Because I want you to be live with me. I want to be able to answer your questions. I want to be able to talk to you about what's going on up in your bedroom. You know, I'm all up in your business because I want to know what's happening, okay? And how I can help you. How I can help you. Like, you don't have to tell me if everything's going well and everything's good, right? You don't have to tell me that. I mean, you can tell me that too. Just don't give me details. But if you need help, if you need assistance, this is what we're here for. More importantly, if you don't want to drop your questions here, book a session. How about that? You can totally book a session. So today we're talking about sexual stumbling blocks in marriage. And, there are many, many different barriers that can come up, that can happen, that can really wreak havoc in the bedroom. So I want to talk to you guys about some of those stumbling blocks and not just discussing the problems, but also giving you some helpful solutions. Okay. If you have any questions or whatever, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And again, I will do my best to answer those questions before I log off. But I want to go ahead and jump right into today's topic because guess what? I'm excited about. I mean, I'm excited about all of my topics with you guys, but I'm really, really excited about this one because I want to bring you guys some relief. That is the ultimate goal, right? Is to bring you some relief. So, one of the main problems that I hear, one of the most common problems that I see and that I hear that couples are struggling with is a loss of passion. I definitely hear that very, very often. And, if you've been together a really long time, this is common. It happens, right? Because we lose the excitement that we once had in a relationship. And, as we begin to age, or again, if we've been together a really, really long time, that passion can get lost, the excitement can get lost. And so the issue when couples spend a lot of time together is that they have a tendency to lose the mystery in the relationship, which leads to a loss of passion. So that's why spontaneity is so important. Being spontaneous, not letting your spouse know what you have planned, not letting them know what you're going to do. That helps to bring that excitement back. You got to look for some new avenues, right? To be happy with each other, trying new things, experimenting with different things. And I'm not talking about just in the bedroom, I mean outside of the bedroom as well. So, some of the things that you guys can do is to make individual wish lists, right? For things that you would like to try, things that you would like to do inside and outside of the bedroom. And, sometimes you may need to commit to having a gadget free zone, right? Where we're just focused on each other. There are no phones, there are no iPads, no tablets, no laptops, no TV, just uninterrupted, no distractions, quality time, at least once or twice a week. That will help with you guys being able to create space to just communicate with each other openly and honestly, and to have those crucial conversations, those uncomfortable conversations, so that you can understand each other's physical needs. That is so important. Now, I've said this before, and I know a lot of you don't like it. I know you don't, but this is what you may have to do sometimes. You literally may have to schedule sex. Okay? Not forever, but for a period of time, because if you've been disconnected for a length of time, you got to get back connected, and it's going to take some effort. And so you may have to schedule. And like I said, I know it's not fun. I know you don't like it. It's not sexy to schedule, but you know what? You can even make the sexy scheduling. How, you say? I heard you. I heard you ask me how. This is how. Literally, right? You can put like a standing meeting. Use your Google Calendar, right? Create a standing meeting with you and your spouse, right? Maybe it's Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. I don't know, right? I don't know your life. I'm just using this as an example. So Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, standing meeting. It's in your Google Calendar that you share. Okay. And you get a reminder that pops up 20 minutes in advance. Somebody can get into the room, create the ambiance, set the atmosphere, okay? But you try something new every time. Like, don't just do the same thing over and over. So, just because it's scheduled doesn't mean that it has to be boring, right? You can think outside of the box and still make it interesting and still make it fun. So you can still make scheduling fun. Also, this is a perfect time to use some role play. And so if you're struggling with role play, I did an episode like a long time ago. Earlier, I want to say last year, maybe mid last year, sorry. So, but anyway, you can just go to SOS and you can look up role play, right? So anyway, this is a perfect time to incorporate role play because you literally can dress up as somebody different every single time, right? And role play, create a scenario. So even though it's scheduled, I don't know who is going to show up for this meeting, for this appointment, okay? So you can still make it fun even though it's scheduled. So anyway, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, because this will lead to a better sex life. All right, so the next common problem that I hear a lot of times is, hi, Kenny. Oh, okay, so Kenny says, I think it would be anticipation that makes it exciting. I think so too. That's what I'm saying, my brother. Thank you. Come through, Kenny. Okay, he feels me, he understands what I'm saying. All right, so the next common problem, libido level differences. Very, very common. This happens so many times in couples where their libidos are not in sync. And when that happens, a lot of times it's because I want to have sex in the morning, you want it at night, I only want it on the weekends, you want it during the week. So you want to have sex at different moments. And it's such a common sexual problem in marriage. And a lot of times, we waste a lot of time, if I'm being honest, we waste a lot of time waiting for the other person to get on the same page with us or for us to get on the same page with them. So rather than waiting for your arousal times to be in alignment, in direct sync, you can just work on whatever situation you are currently in. So think about the definitive times that your partner initiates their interest in sex. Think about if it's at night or if it's in the morning. So let's just say Tim and Tara. All right. So Tara wants it at night. But Tim is like, I want it in the morning before I go to work. Like, this starts my day. It's my breakfast. And we know breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So let's say Tim wants it in the morning, but Tara wants it at night. So what Tim has to do then is start preparing his mind like for the adventure. And so he has to start right from the evening. And so it might be that, he listens to some music. Maybe it's, taking a shower and putting on something that smells good, or maybe it's something that he wears. Maybe you got you some silk pajama pants and you throw on your silk pajama pants and nothing else, Mr. Tim. But whatever you do, look good, smell good, feel good. And when that happens, then that can get your mind mentally prepared. Some people, like I said, use music. Some people have made some videos of themselves engaging, and they'll watch that before they engage. And that also is something else that you guys can do. Like, if porn is an issue and you guys are totally against watching porn, then you create your own. So it's you that you're watching. I'm just saying, helpful tip. But whatever it is, get your mind prepared for it. And likewise, if Tim wants to have it in the morning, she needs to be willing to have it in the morning sometimes, right? So she's got to get her mind right. So that may mean getting up a little bit earlier than Tim, Miss Tara. And maybe that's you taking a quick shower. Maybe that's you, putting on reapplying your smell goods if you put them on at night, washing your face, brushing your teeth, like you preparing, like you going to work. So you got to prepare for these things, okay? Like both of you, whether it's at night, in the morning, or whatever. But you guys have to make sure that you are feeding into the wants, the wishes, the desires, the needs of your spouse. So you got to be flexible. And you have to be willing to adjust. Now, if you're the spouse that could care less, like if we do it in the morning, night, both, whatever, you don't care, then you don't have all this preparation to do. And so you can just go with the flow. But for that one who does like really, really have that issue with libido and like the best time for them is this time, then you should be willing to flex. All right. And try to be on the same page with them, because ultimately you're both trying to get to the same place. All right. So the next problem that we have, common problem that comes up in marriage, is wandering wonders. And so we will talk about that. But before we do, we're going to take a quick break. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere, because I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back again. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and you're watching SOS. And today we are talking about sexual stumbling blocks in marriage, things that are causing some havoc in your relationships and preventing you from having the sex of your dreams and the sex that you desire in your marriage. So we've already covered like 2 or 3 topics, right? We talked about libido, we talked about a loss of passion, and now we are on to wandering wonders. What in the world is she talking about? What is a wandering wonder? You ever been laying in bed, engaging in activity with your spouse, and you're sitting there thinking, I wonder what we're going to have for dinner tonight. I wonder what I have to do at work when I get in the morning. I wonder if one of these children is going to come and knock on this door here in a few minutes. So the wonders, right? Wandering wonders is really talking about just a wandering mind, right? And it happens. And a lot of times it's because sex has become monotonous. You know what's coming next. You already know, like, okay, we're going to go to this position and we're going to switch to that position. And then it's only going to be a few minutes and then it's over with, right? So when it has become monotonous and predictable, that's when the minds begin to wander after a certain period of time. And, if it happens to you, it really might hurt your partner's feelings, especially if they're aware that that's what's happening. So then what do we do? When you are engaging, when you're having sex, you can keep repeating certain sentences or phrases that your partner loves. There are certain things that you say that will really keep your partner stimulated, aroused, engaged. And if you don't know what those things are, then that's a quick conversation. Hey, is there something that I say that you like when we're engaging? But also, there's something else that you can do. You literally can make noise. And when I say make noise, I don't mean like just, I mean like you can moan, right? And you can also say your partner's name from time to time so that you feel connected and you make them feel more loved. I mean, it definitely should sound natural, shouldn't sound robotic and like it's planned. but you just want to stay connected. You want to stay in the moment and not allow your mind to drift off thinking about bills or groceries or activities or things that you forgot to do or need to do, work, kids, whatever. You don't want to be thinking about those things. You want to be fully present, actively engaged with your partner so they know that you're right here with me, and also that you're enjoying it. Like, you want to let your partner know if you're having a good time. How do you do that? Well, you let them know. You tell them. You tell them, right? So I don't know. There's some people out there who are not feeling the whole communication thing during sex. Like, they feel awkward or uncomfortable. But I think it's actually empowering and encouraging to be able to have that dialogue and communication. Now, we're not having a whole dissertation, we're not having a whole conversation, but a word here or there, a moan here or there, or don't stop, keep going. Yeah, right there, something so that the person don't think you sleep. Okay, so engage. This is what we're talking about. I'm just looking over at you guys' comments, and hey, Poppy, good morning. I didn't even tell you guys, shout out, let me know where you're streaming from so I can shout you out. You know I love to do that, so let me know who you are and where you're streaming from, and I definitely will shout you out. All right, so the next common problem that comes up in marriage, oh my goodness, I almost don't even want to say it because people get triggered and they start having flashbacks, and then all types of, you get enraged and all type of stuff come up. But you know what? I'm here for it. Let's do it. Initiation irritation. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, how many times have I heard, I don't like initiating every time? I don't want to have to be the one to initiate every time. So, if you think for some reason that you are the only one dealing with this sexual problem in marriage, trust and believe you are not. The problem with initiation is for the person who is initiating the majority of the time, they may begin to feel like their partner's not interested in them, or that they're not interested in having sex with them. I think the deeper issue, though, is if they feel like their partner isn't interested in them as an individual, because there's the difference between, not being interested in sex and not being interested in the person. That could be for so many different reasons, right? They may not be interested in sex because they're tired or they're overwhelmed or they're stressed out. It could be because they're not enjoying it. It could be because it's monotonous and predictable. It could be because they're bored. It could be because the hormones, right, are different or whatever. Multiple reasons why that can happen. Not being interested in the person could be because there's a disconnect in one of the three quadrants, right? Mental or intellectual, emotional or spiritual. Because those definitely, if we are having issues there, it will affect physically. It will affect physically, okay? Sometimes your partner isn't aware of your need for physical touch. That can happen, and it happens often. We know physical touch is one of the 5 love languages. For some people, like, it's number 5 on the list of 5. And then they mess around and marry someone who has physical touch as number 1. It's their primary. So you have to be able to reconcile that, right? So the person who it's their primary love language, you got to communicate how important your need for physical touch is so that your partner will know and that they will govern themselves accordingly, prayerfully. Remember, I say this all the time. You can never hold someone accountable for something that they never knew was a expectation, right? So you have to communicate what your wants, needs are, what your expectations are, so that your partner can make the necessary adjustments. Sometimes that lack of initiation is because of a lack of compatibility. Maybe you guys are not compatible as it pertains to sex. Maybe you are that person who is like, I think the other person should initiate all the time. And keeping it all the way real with you guys, man, fully transparent. A lot of times, there are religious backgrounds that make women feel as if they're not wholesome or that they're not holy if they initiate sex with their husbands. Like, that the man is supposed to initiate. It may make them feel like they're being thottish or whorish. And like, that's your husband. Yes, you need to initiate with your husband. That's your man. Like, he doesn't want to have to initiate all the time, because at some point it can make a man feel like he's begging you for sex, and nobody wants to have to beg something that they desire, or something that is part of our marital agreement. Right? I shouldn't have to beg you for it. So, ladies, we got to initiate. Men, you guys got to initiate too. And it shouldn't be a one person job. It shouldn't be an expectation for one person to do it all the time, right? We need to share in that responsibility of initiation. So what do you do? What do you do? Communicate openly, honestly, be transparent, tell the truth at all times. Even if you think it's going to hurt, even if you think it's going to cause an argument, it doesn't matter. Tell the truth, because you do more harm than good when you don't tell the truth, right? Because the spouse is feeling like you're good and everything's okay and you're doing fine and you're settling, and you're not telling them that you're settling. Eventually that won't be enough, and then you got to revisit that conversation and say, hey, remember when I told you it was enough? Well, it's not enough. So then you blind side. Is that the word I'm looking for? Blindsided. Yeah. So you sideswipe your spouse and make them feel like you lied. And now that could cause trust issues. Do you see what I'm saying? It literally is like a domino effect, you guys. So you got to be open and honest all the time, right? You can approach directly. You could you could write a letter. I do not recommend communicating this type of stuff via text message. The only thing you're going to communicate via text message is, hey, I really want to talk to you about something that I was thinking about the other day. I want to be able to express some wants, some needs, some wishes, some desires, whatever. I want to have better sex and I want to talk to you about it. Something like that. Like, that's the only thing you put in the text. You do not have this conversation via text. This is a face-to-face conversation. The only exception is if you're a better communicator, written communicator, then you may want to write it out. Okay. And you could either give them that letter. That way they have a chance to read it, process it, come up with questions or whatever. Or you're just writing it down so you ensure that you don't forget anything that you want to talk about. Okay. And so then you then just have your whatever you wrote out, and then you're just kind of going down your list and you're giving your partner an opportunity to communicate. I really like this method. I've used it myself because, I'm getting old lady brain. I say with each baby, which I have 4, I lost a little bit more brain juice, right? So you do the math. So sometimes I do have to write stuff down so I can stay on track, stay focused. Remember, ladies, we have a tendency to talk circular, excuse me, and men are more linear. Linear. So we need to be as clear, concise, and direct as possible when we're communicating with our spouses. Okay. So I like the method of writing things down because you won't forget anything. You're planning, you're thinking through what you want to say, how you want to say it, gives you a chance to practice. And also it can give you that space that your partner needs to be able to respond without you feeling as if you're going to forget something. All right. So I do like that method, but you got to do whatever works best for you. All right. So again, it's really, really important that we share in the responsibility of initiating, right? Somebody's got to do it because we just don't fall into having sex, right? Someone has to initiate. And I don't think it should be a one person job. All right. So make sure you're doing that. Remember when I was talking to you guys about the wandering wonders? One of those I wanted to add in could be, when you have a new baby or you have small children that are still getting up in the middle of the night. That can be really, really difficult to focus while you are engaging in sex because, man, our concentration, especially as women, but our concentration as a couple, it starts to shift from making love to routine, following the process, getting this kid on the schedule, trying to get as much sleep as possible so you can be coherent and functional in the morning, as my favorite cousin likes to say, so she can have all her faculties. So this pressure, right, of having children and also wanting to start a family, if you don't have children yet and you're trying to get pregnant, it can affect the performance, right? Because the very purpose of sex, which is connection and intimacy, is often overshadowed by, hey, I'm ovulating, or we just trying to get it in because we don't know when the next time will be. And that's not sexy, really. All right, so it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you or anything's wrong with your spouse. It's just trying to have a baby. It can lower sex drive. When you do have children and you're exhausted and you're tired and you're chasing babies all day and whatever, especially ladies, if you're nursing, oh my gosh, it just drains you physically. But all of this can be improved if you just seek out different ways to be intimate. And one of the things I talked about too was outer course. That was another show. You can go back and check that out, or you can book a session and I can walk you through it. But it definitely can be just something as simplistic as kissing, cuddling, just spending quality time together, right? And so you can also use music again to distract yourself if you're having that wandering mind, or if you have that pressure of trying to get pregnant, or that pressure of trying to hurry up and get it in before that baby wakes up or before that next feeding. Okay, so many different things that you can do, but guys, the most important thing is to not just recognize that there's a problem and just say, well, that's just it, and just throw your hands up and give up. No, you recognize there's a problem, but now we need to do something about it. All right. Remember what we said: no misery in 2023. No misery in 2023. So I just want to share Kenny's comment. He said, talking while engaged in the activity is on another whole level of intimacy and will heighten your sensitivity for both. Kenny. Yes, Kenny, thank you. This is what I'm talking about for sure. And like I said, you guys just have to make sure that you're on the same page, right? So, sometimes the conversation is not in alignment. So what do I mean? One of you may like a certain type of talk, but that talk may turn off your partner. So then you need to shift that a little bit, right? So you just need to make sure that you're on the same page with your talk, but talk can be extremely erotic. It can be extremely arousing. So yes, having that talk that stimulates you, everybody's on the same page, it can be wonderful. And yes, it can take it to the next level. So, I just think, again, there are many stumbling blocks, and next week we're going to cover some more, but there are many different stumbling blocks that come up. And like I said, the goal is to not just stumble and fall and stay down. It's okay, well, we stumbled, we fell, but now we're going to get back up and we're going to figure out how to make this work. I think many times couples tap out. It's been very difficult. It's been unsatisfying. It's been unfulfilling for so long that sometimes they just tap out and they're just like, you know what, this is the best it's going to be. And we just got to accept that for what it is. I bind that up. I rebuke that. No. This is not what it has to be. Okay. It's all about effort. Every aspect of your relationship is going to take work. So that means if you want it to work, you got to work. And that just is what it is. All right. So hopefully you guys got something out of this today. We are going to continue this conversation next week. I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for dropping your comments in the chat. I definitely appreciate that. And if you think of questions between now and then, go ahead and write them down. So when you jump in, you're ready to ask your questions or to share any comments that you have that you would like me to address or touch on. All right. So you guys have an awesome day and enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you next week. All right. You guys have an awesome one. Bye.